Success is many things to many people. To a banker, it's money. To an artist, a painting. And to a desert racer like Roger Mears, it's winning.
The thing that I really love doing is beating that other guy.
Hello, I'm Paul Page, and out here in the southern Nevada desert, success is just plain surviving. But to those who would challenge this wilderness, their success will be determined by a commitment and an endurance which few possess.
The reward for success came to Roger Mears with a much sought-after Nissan factory sponsorship.
To be a great off-road racer, you got to be a good race car driver. You have to have a knowledge of mechanics and how they work. And the number one thing is have this real knowledge of the desert and being able to read the terrain. That Nevada desert over there is the dyno of the world. Exactly. Shock dyno of the world. I feel very lucky that I get to do my hobby for a living, because that's what I do. It's, if I wasn't getting paid to do this on weekends like I am now, I would be paying to do it.
Hundreds of miles away from Roger's California garage, two up-and-coming Las Vegas drivers work after hours with every cent they can scrape together to maintain their race vehicle. Keith Underwood, a plumber, and his brother-in-law, Mike Spina, a construction foreman, share a dream.
Our goals in racing are to try to get a factory sponsor, factory-backed sponsor, to race all the time professionally.
How the Mears Nissan and the Spina Underwood teams will do starts here outside the Landmark Hotel. Both teams go through a rigorous safety inspection of their vehicles with a little help from their friends like TV star Hervé Villachet.
Welcome to Vegas.
Outside Vegas, at the Las Vegas Speedrome, is where the teams, big and small, come to test their vehicles before the race. And as Roger Mears prepares to set up, Mike and Keith get ready for a trial run of their vehicle. The Mears Nissan pit is where race strategy is carefully planned out by Roger and his team as they get set to go against the top-of-the-line Ford and Chevy teams in the mini or mid-size pickup Class 7. Mike and Keith's main strategy in their 1-2 1600 class has been trying to figure out how to pay for their ever-increasing racing expenses.
Difficulties in off-road racing is having the money to buy the right stuff to be competitive. To overcome that, we spend extra hours at work and scrimp and save. That's how we get here.
And here is where the toughest off-road race will begin. It's early morning and the start of the Nissan 400. There are 300 competitors in 15 classes, from high-tech factory-driven classes to classes filled with mom-and-pop weekend warriors. Only a handful of these competitors receive much publicity. The vast majority who come here are unknowns like the Spina Underwood team, their goals of notoriety tainted by their fears of failure.
My worst fear is not doing well. We want to be successful out there. We don't want to be just another loser.
What can you expect out there, Keith?
What I can expect is just try to keep it all together.
Are you going to take it easy on the first lap?
Yeah, you can't let your emotions take you out of it.
You nervous?
Heck yeah, I'll give you $1,000 for you to climb in here.
On the other end of the spectrum is Roger Mears, whose very name is synonymous with racing success.
The Nissan 400 is the roughest race course that we run. I'm really going to set a pace. I'm really going to treat it like I'm starting out to run 23, 24 hours.
You hear anything about the course yet?
No. Without this pre-running, we'll just have to check it out as we go. We're just going to treat the first lap like we're pre-running, and hopefully the race will back up to us.
We're ready for the start, and as Roger has already told you, none of the drivers have ever seen the course they're going to be racing on here today. Now, that already adds to the uncertainty and the tension that these nervous drivers feel as they're ready to begin the Nissan 400, the most grueling event in the HDRA circuit.
We're back on the starting line at the Las Vegas Speedrome, and they're off. Two vehicles take off every 15 seconds, with the order of their takeoff figured into the finishing time. And there goes Keith Underwood in his Class 1-2 1600.
If we win this race, it's exposure. It's extra exposure for us, and it means you've accomplished something really big.
And Roger Mears, who's racing against the top-of-the-line Ford and Chevy teams in Class 7. This is the start of 4 100-mile laps through the desert. Each lap, the drivers come back around here to the speedrome. And as Roger Mears heads out for his first full lap, he's just got to be wondering, how tough will it be out there in the desert? Keith Underwood, and if Keith is holding back in the first lap to learn the terrain, I don't see it. Roger Mears has taken an early lead in Class 7, even though it looks as if he's taking a cautious first lap to learn the course. But it doesn't look like everyone had the same strategy. You know, these vehicles use old roads and dried-up riverbeds to protect the desert environment. That doesn't make this course any easier. Well into the first lap, and Keith has taken 4th place. He seems to be moving up to overtake 3rd place. Roger's maintaining 1st, but sometimes your mind wanders out here.
In a long race, instead of relaxing, your mind starts working double time on what I got to do to make things better at home or at the shop. You just go, my gosh, what are you doing? And, hey, get back to what you're doing.
Roger's got a flat, and it couldn't have come at a worse time because here comes Larry Ragland driving the Chevy number 701. That flat will cost Roger the lead in this race.
Copy, 700's down a minute and a half to Ragland on the way to Little Red. 700's down a minute and a half to Ragland on the way to Little Red.
700 less than 1 minute behind 701.
Roger just had a flat up here, mile 50. Ragland had a flat, and we passed him. We had a flat, and Ragland just passed us.
There goes Roger. And with one lap of the Nissan 400 almost completed, it looks as though he's going to have to abandon his cautious strategy if he wants to catch up to Ragland and recapture 1st place. We're back at the Las Vegas Speedrome. Look at that. Looks like he's okay, though. Here comes Keith Underwood in the number 1630. 1 lap down, and Keith appears to be running a solid 3rd place with 3 laps to go. And Roger Mears is passing Larry Ragland coming into the Speedrome. What an incredible competition between these two. You know, it's very unusual for drivers to be so close after 100 miles of racing. Ragland's just a few feet behind Mears. And Ragland's spinning out of control. But he's recovered now and back in the race. I don't believe these guys. Roger gained a few yards, but Larry Ragland is right behind him. Roger may be ahead of Larry as they come out of the speedrome for their second 100-mile lap. There's something coming up that's going to put him back into 2nd place. Roger has a pit stop coming. And there goes Roger into the pit. And there goes Larry Ragland out into the desert and back into 1st place. But if Roger has his way, Larry Ragland won't be in 1st place for very long. There's Ragland coming through the rock garden, the toughest part of the 100-mile loop. And if Larry thinks he's got relief from Roger Mears, he better look in his rearview mirror. Roger's determined to retake 1st place. I asked Roger earlier how he feels about the kind of close competition he's having with Larry Ragland today.
The real drive, the real thing that I get out of racing is beating that other guy. That guy is in front of me, and I have got to pass that guy. But I feel it come over me. It just kind of comes over me, and I go, gotta get that guy. I gotta get that guy. I mean, I know that's where I beat guys. I know it is.
Well, Roger may have retaken 1st place, but there are over 200 miles and 1,000 things that can happen before the end of this race.
700, go ahead.
I think we've got some trouble out here. We've been smelling some burnt oil at the checkpoint. It's coming out of the rear end of the truck. I think you better get ready for it to come on in to take a look at this thing.
They can smell a burnt rear end oil at the checkpoints when they stop. They're getting a burnt rear oil smell, so we're going to, sounds like the rear end's going out, so we're going to Good setup to change the third member in the rear end.
Well, changing a rear end will cost Roger time he can ill afford if he's going to maintain a lead over Larry Ragland. Now, this pit crew has practiced a similar scenario many times before. Each crew member's job is an integrated step in cutting down the repair time. But as they wait for number 700 to come in, each pit crew member knows the difference between practice and the real thing, and it's that difference that could lose this race for Roger Mears. We're back out in the second lap. And there's Keith Underwood, who is maintaining a solid third place, but moving closer to the second place spot. This is Keith's last full lap before Mike Spina takes over. He's trying to make it a good one. We're back at the Speedrome, halfway into the race. Roger Mears appears to have made it here with that rear end trouble. But with Larry Ragland right on his tail, the time involved with replacing a complete rear end may be very costly in this race. Unfortunately for Roger, there's no other choice. He'll have to come in. It looks like Roger's in luck. It's just a rear end seal, but it's still going to take time to replace. And with Ragland closing the distance every second, I'll tell you, I'd be nervous. But what's Roger doing through all this? He's eating a sandwich.
In this type of racing, I have to talk myself down, calm down. I'm just going to go out for a Sunday ride. I'm just going to go for a drive to try to calm myself down, to pace yourself in order to last this type of long, rough race.
With lunch completed and Larry Ragland right on his tail, Roger may not be getting nervous, but his pit crew sure is.
145.
With Ragland 1 minute and 45 seconds behind Roger, Keith Underwood has moved up to second place and is headed for a driver change. With over a dozen dropouts in their class, the Spina Underwood team has a good shot at first. We're back on the third of 4 laps, and Roger Mears is broken down.
When I break down in the desert, I do get panicky sometimes. Say like I'm leading the race, and the competition's coming up behind you. Know they're going to pass any minute, and that is a real heart stopper.
He's not the only one with problems out here. Here comes Keith Underwood. Keith has one last obstacle before his driver change, the infamous rock garden. Larry Ragland is down. By the look of that transmission fluid under his truck, it doesn't look like he's going to be back anytime soon. There's some luck for Roger. He just solved his mechanical problems and is back in the race. But Roger better not get too comfortable, because here comes the Ford team's Manny Esquera, right behind him through the rock garden. Manny's been in third place, but made up a lot of time when Roger was down. Family and friends are the backbone of the Spina Underwood pit crew. On everyone's mind here is, where's Keith? He was last seen going into the rock garden, but he hasn't been heard of since. Now, several drivers who were behind him have passed. Mike Spina's scheduled to take over the driving, but as every minute ticks by, his chances for a win diminish.
What I figure.
He's running a little late, isn't he?
Yeah. That looks right there like it's your third place car in our class. He's not out of it yet. There's your fourth car in our class right now.
Maybe had a flat in the rock
Could have
garden.
a flat, could have rolled,
anything.
It's hard to say.
If he's coming through the rock garden and hits a big old rock, we're history with that front left tire.
Dean in number 1624. Maybe he has some news of Keith.
What's wrong with him?
He's 2 miles past Pit B, which is right in the rock garden.
Is he down?
Yes, he's down.
Take it, Jeff. Take a front and rear and a four-way.
And
It's Keith!
okay? Did it just stall?
It died. I couldn't get it started.
Okay. Get out.
Mike, be careful. It's a little silky back there. All right?
Here, Jack.
Hold on. What's up?
What happened to you? Where'd you get stuck?
Right out here in the middle of the rock garden. I went in a ditch and I killed the car and it wouldn't start, as you can see. So I had to mess with it for about 15, 20 minutes trying to get it started. And now we've lost first gear and the trans doesn't sound very good.
Get your seat up.
Rick, push it. Go, push it.
Come on, push it. Push it.
Come on, man. Second gear. Rick, push.
The Spina Underwood team has fallen to 6th place. As Mike tries to play catch-up, Roger Mears, coming into checkpoint 8, is trying to maintain his lead over Manny Escara. Manny's continuing his push to take Roger out of the first position in this race. Roger's truck is holding up fine after almost 300 miles, with none of the earlier problems. But with over 100 miles to go, this is still anyone's win. Manny Escara is counting on that as he comes up right behind Roger out of checkpoint 8. Here's Mike Spina. He's passed 2 cars already and moved up to 4th place. Earlier, I asked Mike what drives him out here.
The gratifications I get out of this race is just being the best in the desert. That's everything.
For Mike, the best means passing 4 more cars. Roger Mears has just come into the speedrome. It looks like his wish to finish this race before dark is just that, a wish. What's on everyone's mind is getting through the last 100-mile lap at night. The battle between Roger Mears and Manny Escara will take on a brand new dimension as the sun starts to go down and the headlights come on. And there's Manny coming up right behind Roger through the speedrome. Mike Spina's car is being pushed off the track. He stopped and can't get started again. This race doesn't look good for the Spina Underwood team. It's dusk, and the last time around this track for Roger Mears. Night changes everything out here. The caution flags go up everywhere. But the most important change is in the mental attitude of the drivers. Long hours without rest, and the relentless punishment the course doles out is certain to have an effect on Roger's last lap. Roger Mears has been through this many times before. From Baja to Nevada, night racing has the same effect.
No matter how you pace yourself, you get physically and mentally very, very tired. I know toward the end, your mind really starts to wander. It's harder to concentrate. At night, it starts seeing things. Cactus start looking like people, and pick up cactus and bushes that are rocks that are shaped funny that resemble something, you know. And you think it's something it isn't until you get there.
As the effects of long-term racing and nighttime driving add up, there is one more thing to be factored into this race. The silt beds. They're quicksand to a racing vehicle. They cause incredible havoc to tired drivers whose nighttime vision limits their ability to maneuver around them. Roger's still holding on to a slim lead through the last checkpoint. There's only one short stretch left to the finish line now. We're back in the speedrome. It is here where some vehicles will come into the finish line and others will go back out for their last lap. Roger's stuck in one of those silt beds. Let's listen in on the radio.
10-4-700, we copy you're stuck in a silt hill. Can you get yourself out, Roger?
No, I'm really stuck out here. Where's Manny?
Manny's the next truck behind you. Roger, your support truck can't get to you quickly enough. Do what you can to get yourself out.
Here come the winners in the Spina Underwood class. It's Tom and Bob Denault to the finish line. As Tom and Bob celebrate a well-deserved win, let's go over to Keith and Mike on the other side of the track. Mike, what happened on the last lap?
The training started going just before the end of the third lap, and it finally went, finishing the third lap.
It's hard to swallow right now that it died the last lap. It's a tough to take, but we'll come back. We're gonna go scrape up some money and work a little harder, and we'll be back.
Let's get it rebuilt. Go to the next one.
Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Roger Mears is out of the silt bed and running right in front of Manny Esquera. Manny made up ground while Roger was stuck and turned this Class 7 race into a very close call. As those two battle it out in the darkness of the desert, all the Nissan crew can try and do is keep their pulse down, wait, and hope that Roger doesn't hit another silt bed just before the finish line. There's a headlight, and it's Roger Mears. Roger's out in front. 400 long, tough miles in the heat and darkness. It all ends here in the Las Vegas Speedrome. Today, for Roger Mears, success is first in class in the Nissan 400.
Had these dreams. I could vision myself in a race car getting paid to drive and being a professional race car driver and winning all these races. I thought of it as a dream. I didn't really think it would ever happen. Obviously, things have turned out pretty much that way, and I couldn't be happier. What really feels good is when you're against all odds and things aren't on your side and you pull off a win anyway. It's definitely not the money. It's just that self-satisfaction I get of knowing that I beat that other guy. Winning is definitely better than losing.